We bring you some news coming out of the Free State now, where a 41-year-old police sergeant has been gunned down outside his home at Phase 6 in Bloemfontein. This was in the early hours of this morning. Free State Hawk spokesperson Singo says John Dikgoele was off duty at the time of the incident. Dikgoele was driving a state vehicle and had parked the vehicle outside his home when two suspects came out of a nearby unoccupied house and shot him dead. For more on the story, we take you now to our reporter Kamogelo Seekoei, who joins us now on the line. Kamu, thank you so much for your time. So do you have an indication of what the motive was, and what more do we know about this incident?
Well, from what we know at the moment, it's only information coming from the family, and the police cannot yet confirm that information. The family has told us that Sergeant John Dikgoele's brother-in-law was actually shot in the same yard in 2020 rather, and they suspect that that was a hit that was meant for Sergeant Dikgoele and not for the brother-in-law, because it was a mystery to them why he would just be shot. He's not involved in anything that would link up to a crime or anything of the sort. So when this incident happened, it is for them now that it's adding up that perhaps in 2020, when the brother-in-law was shot, the hit was actually meant for the police officer who's actually in the stock set unit of the SABC. So at this point, that's the only information that we have, except for the fact that there was also another person in the car, a woman who was also shot, and she's in hospital. She also sustained injuries from the gunshots. From there, the police are still investigating the matter. When we were at the scene, the Hawks were on the scene also trying to put together whatever information that they got. There are no suspects at the moment. No one has been arrested, even for the previous murder that was committed at the same place. There hasn't been any arrests made.
Now, one can only continue. Right, Kamu. So one can only imagine the shock that is usually brought about by such incidents. What are some of the community members there saying?
They're describing this as something like a dream. You know, they never really expected that something like this would happen. In fact, the family member that we spoke to is a cousin of the deceased, and he says he was with them earlier in the night, but he decided to go home before Sergeant John and the people that he was with. He was actually visiting the deceased. So he decided, no, I'm going home. You call me when you arrive. So when the officer arrived at home, the gate was locked. He called this one to open for him. He opened for him, and then he went back inside the house. He went back to bed, and then the officer parked the car, and it was when he was going to close the gate that the incident happened. So you can just imagine how shocked he is, you know, at the fact that he was with the deceased the whole night, and it was only a space of an hour or two that they were separate and the incident happened. I mean, he's in shock. You can see it visibly on his face, and he's unable to even express himself fully about how this incident, he might have been involved himself in that incident if he had stayed with the deceased when they were out for the night. So yeah, that's just what's happening. The family has started gathering there. We couldn't go to the scene as yet because the police were still busy, you know. So we couldn't really get the visuals from there. But you know, there's real shock in the family members.
So do we know if this hit was somehow linked to the officer's job?
Pardon me, I didn't get that.
What do we know about the hit as far as the leads are concerned at the moment? I mean, do we know if perhaps the hit was linked to the officer's job as part of the stock theft unit?
The police are not yet linking it to that. They just mentioned it to us that he was in the stock theft unit, but the family is definitely linking the hit to his work, especially in the stock theft unit. But at the moment, nothing is yet confirmed as to whether his work is linked to that. But as I've indicated, there was a hit before in the family, and now they're saying it now makes sense to them why another person was shot who was unrelated to anything whatsoever. There couldn't have been a hit on him for any reason.
SABC News reporter Kamogelo Seekoei on the pulse of that story for us. Thanks very much indeed for that.